Hi.
Hello.
So I'm wearing a headband because I usually don't get to wear it when we're on the show because my headphones are on. So I'm only wearing it for the stream. I brought it just for today.
What does a headband do different?
Nothing. It's just a cute accessory. Is it accessory or accessory?
It's an accessory.
Accessory.
Accessory. There's a hard K sound in there. An accessory. Accessory.
And I think that we should do a TikTok today. I don't know what yet, but I want to do a TikTok with you today.
Ooh.
So let's think of a
I'll
TikTok.
TikTok with you.
So are you still doing Taco Tuesdays or is just that not a thing anymore?
I haven't really done it much lately. I was thinking about bringing it back, but my weight started to fluctuate again, and the tacos I think were a big part of that. So I took those out a little bit.
Gained weight, some weight?
I put a little bit back on a second ago. Yeah.
Okay, well,
So
if you're not feeling good about it, I'm not going to say anything either here nor there. But I
no,
think
you
you.
know what?
I
I
could
was
tell
going to
that
talk
you're.
to you.
I could tell that you're finally buying new clothes because you're not like swimming and everything.
Yeah, it's taken me a second. And I was going to talk to you about that because it's almost becoming something that I kind of obsess on a little bit because uh I I spent the last 15, 16 years being over 200, right? And so for the last 6 months or 4 months, I've kind of bounced back and forth between like 192 and like 201, but when I start to hit that 200 mark, I really panic, like I freak out, and I start to kind of punish myself a little bit. And you've been talking a lot about how you've taken away the mental block of like the things that you were depriving yourself of because you were miserable. And I'm starting to feel like I might be towing that line of going down that route of not being happy. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, if you feel comfortable, it's totally all mental. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a fitness. I'm not a nutritionist, so nobody needs to listen to me. But everything is mental because even when I was like small, it took me about a year of being the same size to even go buy new clothes because I was like, I'm going to get fat again. And then why would I? But so I stopped dieting like a couple months ago. Like I just can't do it anymore. I already have a gluten allergy. It's already hard enough for me to find food, and I had a terrible, miserable way that I was looking at food. It was an eating disorder. So since I've stopped dieting and I just eat what makes my body feel good, I've actually dropped weight, which is not the reason that I've done it. But I'm also like starting to feel way better because if I restrict it, I'm going to binge on it. And I'm a big binge eater. So if I restrict all week, like the people who do keto and the low carb, and if I restrict all week, you're going to see me on a Sunday with 8 large fries. But now that I don't restrict myself, I don't need it. Like you tell me I can't have something and then I want it. I think you're being too hard on yourself, especially between 192 and 200 for a man. That could be even for a woman, that could be salt. That could be for a woman, that could be her period. That could be you had too much water yesterday. Tomorrow could be something completely different. I think you're being. Do you weigh yourself every day?
I've stopped doing that. I stopped doing that when I realized, okay, I was charging really hard at getting under 200, right? And I found a weighted blanket at the discount store. And so I bought it and I told them, hey, hold on to this for me. I'll be back in about 20 minutes. I drove my car home because I knew that I weighed like 200.8 pounds, right? Dead of summer. This is July. I drove my car home, walked back to the discount store with a backpack, and then walked back home in the heat with a weighted blanket and a backpack on just so that my scale would say 199.8. And I mean, it worked, but it was like this obsessive thing where it was like, oh my God, I've got to stop doing this.
I'm a little worried about you.
So, well, no, so I pumped the brakes on that, right? Like, but this is how it.
That's good that you're self-aware.
So, but I mean, this is how you and I roll, right? Like, no matter what it is, we charge forward, feet first or head first before like we even really think about it, Like I saw something like that, and rather than sit back and be like, hey, I got another pound to go, let's plan out the week and work on this. I'm like, hey, there's a weighted blanket and it's 109 out. Let's go walk with that for a half hour.
I had to do.
Stupid.
That's what I had to do because I have like trips coming up. Good morning, Jennifer. I have trips coming up. I have a Halloween costume I have to get in. And I decided I'm not going to do that. Like I'm going to eat what makes my body feel good. And if I lose the weight or if I don't, if it takes 6 months, then I can't no longer be like, I'm going to eat boiled eggs every day for the next 3 weeks and be miserable. No. Everybody has seen me this size anyway. If it's going to take me 6 months to lose it, cool. And if I don't, then I'm cool at this size. But everybody's mentality is different. And if you feel your best not under 200 with what your size is now, because I think scales are stupid, then strive to continue to be that, but don't be so hard on yourself.
Right. And that's where I was really kind of catching myself. And I was like, over the course of this last year, like I've done a pretty good job of like standing up and just punching the crap out of myself that maybe this would be like, where I'm like, I think we're okay now,
Yeah. I think you've been pretty hard and you've gone through a lot. And that's
we all have.
Like with your divorce and the kids back in school, and we have more to do at the radio station. Like, why would you want to bog yourself down with the counting of the calories and worrying about your weight all the time? Like, that should be the least of, you're a healthy man.
Yes, I am. Thank
and
you.
your body needs clothes, so your clothes fit properly now. So now if they get too snug, you know that you're not going in the direction that you want to go.
That's the other part that I was like it would start to be like a little bit, but like, okay, dial it back a little bit. Maybe I don't need an ice cream sandwich today.
See, and my thing is that maybe I do want an ice cream sandwich and I shouldn't care what size my pant size is.
Right.
Like, I would rather have an ice cream sandwich and be a size 14 than deprive myself of ice cream sandwiches to be a size 8. And that's just how I feel.
But sometimes don't you just want
moderation? No, that's moderation is still restriction.
Because sometimes you just want an ice cream sandwich and you want to sit on your couch in your underwear with nobody around and just do your thing.
Yes. We were just saying that. Thank you, Desiree. This is probably the heaviest I've been, but like I feel beautiful, like glowing compared to usual because I finally feel good about what's going into my body. But we were talking earlier about how sometimes we just want to lay around naked and eat snacks and watch TV and not feel bad. Like you and I both have learned that we enjoy our space. And it's funny that we learned that after we got married, right?
Right. It sucks for anybody we date now because they get the version of us that went through a marriage and came out and was like, hey, I like you most of the time. And to keep liking you, I need to not see you some of the time. But for you to still like me, I need you to also not see me some of the time. And trust me, you'll thank me for that.
Yes. Like I was into this guy and we're still friends for years and years. And when he would want like some alone time, we would get into huge fights about it. Huge fights. I'm like, look, my kids are gone only once in a while with their dad. I have this weekend off. And he's like, I still need some time to myself, no matter what your schedule looks like. And I'd get pissed off. And then I was in a relationship where he was just smothering all the time. And I just wanted to look at him and be like, all I want to do is be naked and Netflix and eat snacks and not have you watching me when I'm into my elbows deep into my sunflowers.
I want Netflix and nude. Is that cool?
Yes. And
right?
I remember my buddy going, oh, isn't this karma getting you? Right? And now I'm like, I need my alone time, man.
So, we haven't really brought it up because I didn't really want to, but I'm dating somebody right now. Mm-hmm. And it's not
because every time we do it live, it fizzles out in like a week.
Right?
As soon as you admit, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, no, totally. But this one has no social media, like totally off the grid. Like good luck figuring out who she is.
That was my Murphy's guy. No social media. Nobody knows who he is except for our local bars. I kind of like it.
Yeah, there's not one person on here that can go through my social media and say, I know who that is and drop a name, because you can't. I promise you can't. Good luck. But we were having a conversation last night or a couple of days ago because, she has 2 kids full time, right? All the time, 100% of the time, it's her and her 2 kids, and they're great kids. And I've got my kids half the time. And so the other half the time when I don't have kids is kind of our time where we can really hang out a lot more because her situation is static. Her kids are a little bit older, so she can leave them be a little bit longer. And so that's kind of our time to hang out. You know, and then because she has two kids all the time, when she's around another adult, and I get this, you know, she sucks on and she's like, I've got an adult here that's talking to me. Don't let this go away. You know, when I was married and I was with my children, you know, 5 days a week from like when I got home from work until 7 or 8 o'clock at night, when an adult came around, I did the same thing.
7 days a week. Did you forget you have your kids on the weekends?
Or 5 days. Yeah. Well, you know what I meant. Like when I was married and my wife was working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so I had a conversation with her the other day, and it was a hard conversation to have because there's no way to have it without sounding like a jerk. But I kind of hit a point where I was like, hey, like I really love hanging out. I have my own house too. And sometimes I just want to go to the house that I'm paying for by myself and just sit there. Like the Kings season starts tomorrow. And on Wednesday, I'm not going to be around. I'm going to be watching a Kings game on my couch, probably with some nasty takeout in my underwear. And if you want to come over and watch with me, you can. But you're going to see me in a way that you don't really see me. And we're probably not going to talk much.
Yeah.
You know, I said it nicer than that, but that was the gist of it.
Well, she has to get used to that now because that's just who you are as a person.
So, and that was it, you know, I was like, and I told her too, I said, I get.
Listening, I'm not just saying she just has to get used to Ian as a person. I'm very rough on him when he needs to compromise as well.
Totally.
This is one that I don't think you need to compromise on. I think this is a boundary. And when people use the words boundaries, it sounds like a negative thing, but it's not. I think this is a boundary you have to hold on to because once you give up your 1 day a week boundary, it's hard to get that back.
Well, and if we've learned anything, in our marriages, at least if I've learned anything, and I'm sure you've learned the same, is that A, alone time is important, but B, if you have alone time, then the together time needs to be meaningful. You know, because like in my marriage, we had lots of alone time, lots and lots of alone time. But then you had to ask yourself, was the together time meaningful, or was the together time because you coexisted? You know. And so I think that you have to take care of aspects on both fronts like that. But then, you know, on that same token too, because I was talking to her last night about this, on that same, like, I don't want to be selfish and say me. She has two kids that she's with all the time. So I told her, I've got a house that nobody lives in half the time. If you need to take a break and just come over for like 6 or 7 hours and just be alone, I can go disc golfing. I can go bowling. I've got a whole new set of friends now that I didn't have before that I can go hang out with. Enjoy. Try it, and you'll understand why I want it so bad.
Yeah, maybe, and it's like they need to get a taste of it to know. You know what I mean? They really do. So I don't know.
Because it is self-care.
Mm-hmm.
It is a time to sit down and reflect.
Is there anything that she does that she would rather do by herself, or does she like to shop? Does she like to do yoga? And being super sexist. Does she like to work on cars? I mean, it could be anything. Totally.
She has a hobby of woodworking. Like she can refinish furniture like no other. You know, she's got cool skills that she does like that. But she also, again, she has two kids that, you know, she has full time. She's not from here, you know, and so it's just her and her children, and literally nobody else except, you know, whatever social construct she has. And so I think that, you know, for her, she had a hard time understanding from my standpoint that, like, I've got a week where nobody's around, and part of that, I don't want anybody around because she's never not had anybody around, so it's just not normal to her.
Yeah.
I don't even think that she knows she wants it.
Yeah.
So maybe I think that's where the misfire was.
Yeah. I agree. Maybe she doesn't understand how awesome alone time is. And,
right.
And it takes a while to understand how awesome alone time is. Because when you first, you don't always, like, especially with my divorce, like I first didn't go for that. Like I was stage 5 clinger. Like I wanted a relationship. I wanted back in it right away. And it took me a few years to realize, actually, no, I like my space and my boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think learning that, and before where you have very opinionated females who didn't back down in your life, maybe there's one right here too, that before you didn't really have a say, and now that you've been alone for a while, you have a say and you like it, and you're going to keep it this way for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think that's really accurate, you know?
That would be true too, Lauren. She could feel guilty for wanting alone time if she's a mom.
Well, I mean, think about people that come from large families. You know, I've got friends that grew up Mormon, that traditional Mormon is, you know, 6, 7, 8 children in the household. And so as an adult, They want people around all the time. You know, for me, I grew up with a half sister, and I love Marty. She's my sister, but she's 8 years older than me. So when I was 8, she was 16 and doing her thing. I basically grew up an only child, which is fine. But I got used to enjoying being by myself until I didn't want to be by myself, you know? But then I also think or at least I found that you have to be in a healthy place to enjoy the alone time, because I'm sure the same was for you too. Like at first in my divorce, for the first few months, I was alone and I was lonely. You know, I walked around to the table in the middle of my room sometimes for an hour at a time.
Are just like, there was one night that I was alone and I called our friend Jamie and I'm like, I just can't be in my own head. And she's like,
yeah,
I just need somebody to fill that space.
Yeah, that's a different alone. That's a totally different alone. But now alone is like, I'm busy. I've got things going on. I've got a relationship I'm tending to. I've got a hobby that I'm tending to. And I've got a couple of days, every few days, where I have the opportunity to do nothing. And I'm going to do that. And if you would like to do that too, I can provide you that opportunity. But don't get mad at me for taking it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. All right, you guys, we got to jump back on the air. We have $25,000. You get $100 just for qualifying for $25,000 in our contest. What else we got going on? Lots of cool music. We have concerts on khop.com. Thank you, Honey's Air and Solar. Thank you, Honey's Air and Solar, for putting on our stream. Look at me pointing at.
Well, hold on. Let's do this synchronized. We're going to go. Thank you, Honey's Air and Solar. And we're going to go that way. And then we're going to say, for sponsoring the Madden and Riley live stream, we're going to go that way. You ready?
Okay.
All right.
I can only do one finger because I'm confused.
But you can't point yet. You have to point at the same time. We have to go.
Okay.
You have to put them down. Ready? Thank you, Honey's Air and Solar, for sponsoring the Madden and Riley live stream.
If you would have done them backwards, I would have messed it all up. All right, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.